Baldur's Gate 3 is a perfect game to port to Nintendo Switch 2. Today I'm talking about 5 ways that really do make it go beyond just making sense. It's obvious. But you can't play big graphics heavy games on the Switch or the Switch 2, right? Thankfully, now along with all the other points on my list, I'll show you why that reality has changed. Handheld gaming will never be the same. Welcome to GameList Plus. I'm Josh, and I love my Nintendo Switch and Baldur's Gate 3, and I've compiled 5 pieces of one big puzzle. By the end of this video, you will see that final piece, and all these points can prove exactly why Baldur's Gate 3, the amazing turn-based RPG, is a surefire choice to be released on Nintendo Switch 2. Therefore, at point number 1, they've already done it. Larian Studios, the innovative developer and publisher behind Baldur's Gate 3, isn't new to Switch ports. They put their last game, Divinity Original Sin 2, on the Switch all the way back in 2019. Divinity 2 was the framework that they built Baldur's Gate 3 around in the first place. As you can see, it has very similar gameplay to that of Baldur's Gate 3. Not only could you play Divinity 2 on your Switch, but you could take your save file from the Steam version on PC and play your game on the go. Then jump back onto the computer, continuing from where you left off on your Switch. It makes perfect sense for them to do the exact same thing again. Being able to play on the go was an awesome factor for this game, but there was a massive difference in graphics from the PC version to the Switch version, so it might seem like that would be the same situation with Baldur's Gate 3 on PC versus the Switch 2, but that brings me to point number 2, portability with power. The new reality is that the Switch 2 really does have the capability not only to run Baldur's Gate 3, but it could run beautifully on it. The Switch 2 is touted as being 10 times more powerful than the original Switch, and there's already proof. Rather than going through a bunch of numbers of the Switch 2's processing power, even though 12 gigabytes of RAM is no joke, just take a look. This is Cyberpunk 2077 running smoothly and beautifully on the Nintendo Switch 2. This is due to the incredible DLSS upscaling system. Switch 2 is operating on a modern NVIDIA chipset, with the DLSS upscaling built into the infrastructure of that chipset. This allows the Switch 2 to render games at a lower resolution, then use AI to upscale the image, making it look way better and run much smoother. Looking at Divinity Original Sin 2 running on the original Switch, then thinking about the 10 times the power upgrade makes Baldur's Gate 3 sound even more exciting. I still really wish they would have called it Super Nintendo Switch. That would have been so much better. Oh yeah, and hit that like button if you're enjoying this video, it really helps the channel, and subscribe for all my upcoming videos. Anyway, there are many comparison videos out there of people playing Cyberpunk 2077 on Steam Deck versus on the Switch 2. You can go take a look at those for yourself, but it's very obvious that it looks and plays much better on the Switch 2. I owned a Steam Deck for a little while myself, and I loved playing Baldur's Gate 3 on the Steam Deck. The portability was awesome, and it looked great on that system with the right settings. The system requirements are definitely higher for Cyberpunk 2077 than they are for Baldur's Gate 3, so it stands to reason that the Switch 2 is much more than fully capable of playing Baldur's Gate 3 on it. So it would seem it's just a matter of when. But why would Larian Studios even care, since they already have such a massive success with Baldur's Gate 3 being released on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox systems? You would think that selling 15 million copies of Baldur's Gate 3 already would be enough. But at point number 3, the untapped audience. There is a massive audience that plays Nintendo Switch. 152 million Switch systems have been sold since it was released in 2017. And recent surveys indicate that more than 80% of Nintendo Switch players are over the age of 18. Nintendo has said that they plan on shipping 15 million Nintendo Switch 2 units by the end of the year, and demand for the system is insanely high. And most of the players are adults. I can say anecdotally that there are many people that I know who play Switch and have heard of Baldur's Gate 3 but just haven't played it. They play Switch games when it's convenient because they're busy lives. Switch is easy to just toss in your bag and play when you have free time. And all of this matters in the big picture. People who exclusively play Nintendo Switch games will be thrilled to have the opportunity to finally play Baldur's Gate 3 on the go. I myself played Skyrim for the very first time on my Switch, bringing me into that world for the very first time. I don't know if I would have jumped into it so easily if it weren't on the Switch. And of course, this point is super important, but another major factor that makes all of this make sense is illustrated vividly in point number 4. Flexibility. The couch co-op potential and multiplayer gaming involved with Baldur's Gate 3 is such a perfect and ideal match. There's already a huge ecosystem of other players that they could play with through their Switch 2. Imagine you and another friend could play Baldur's Gate 3 on your Switch 2 with split screen on your couch, while your other friend across the country plays on their Xbox, and your other friend in another room plays on their PC. There are just so many ways to play. Not to mention all the other options you have with the Switch 2 for the gameplay itself. You could play it on your TV, you could play it on the tabletop, or of course you could play it on the train on your way to work. And then you have the control flexibility. You could play it on the console mode as you would on other gaming consoles, or play it like you would on a PC using the Switch 2's new Joy-Con mouse controls, which is awesome. Which, having played both ways, I really do think that's the superior way to play Baldur's Gate 3. All of this sounds really great, of course, and sadly nothing has been announced officially or said yet as of the making of this video anyway. But what is the final piece of this puzzle that might just be the biggest indicator that Baldur's Gate 3 might actually be coming to the Switch 2? Point number 5. Etsushi Lizuka. Etsushi Lizuka was given special thanks in the credits of Baldur's Gate 3. And why is this significant in any way? He's a Nintendo employee known for assisting third-party game ports to Nintendo platforms in the past, games like Disney's Illusion Island and Shin Megami Tensei 5. This has led to speculation that we might just be seeing Baldur's Gate 3 on the Switch 2 sometime soon. When that actually happens remains to be seen, but hopefully it is sooner than later. Therefore, to sum all of this up, Larian Studios has already done this before with Divinity Original Sin 2, bringing it to the original Switch, and it also allows cross-saves between the PC and the Switch. Beyond expectation, the Nintendo Switch 2 has the ability and power to play Baldur's Gate 3, and to do so with ease. There is a massive, untapped adult audience that is very likely to buy this game for their Switch 2. It's ideal for co-op gaming and multiplayer gaming online. There's a ton of flexibility in how you could play, including the new Joy-Con mouse controls. And all of these things are pulled together by the fact that Etsushi Lizuka is thanked in the credits for Baldur's Gate 3. Thanking a Nintendo employee who helped bring Shin Megami Tensei 5 to the Switch probably indicates that Larian has been planning to bring Baldur's Gate 3 to the Switch 2 all along. All of these points make it very clear that Baldur's Gate 3 is perfect for the Switch 2, but that's just what I think. What do you think? Let's talk about it in the comments below. And while we're talking about Switch games, is the $80 price tag for Switch 2 games really that bad? You can watch that video and join the conversation right here. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Go try something new. I'll see you soon on GameList Plus.
Let's try to find a solution together before it's too late.